Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to a segment of On the Clock. I'm here by myself, and today we're going to be doing mid-season tier lists. So far, we are 9 weeks, technically 10, because today's Friday. Happy Veterans Day, by the way. Today's Friday. Thursday Night Football happened yesterday, in which the Falcons lost to the Panthers 25-15. And we're going to be basing our tier list based off of that. Technically, we are mid-season, so... we're just going to do a mid-season tier list, see how the teams have been doing so far, in my personal opinion. If you guys have any comments or concerns, let us know in the comments below. And let's just kick it off. Starting with the Cardinals here. The Cardinals, I have them at C. It's already you already gave me a tough one. Jeez. We're going to put them here on C. The reason why we're going to put them there on C is because they're 3-5. They almost beat the Eagles. They lost to the Seahawks, which kind of gives me like mixed vibes about them. They lose to easy teams, they lose to good teams. They're very close. They pick and choose when they win games. If it wasn't because of that overtime scoop and score from the Raiders, they would be significantly worse. So they've been really underwhelming. I think Cliff Kingsbury's job is on the line because they got 2 divisional games. If they lose both of them, I think he's out. I know I said otherwise on Twitter, but people make mistakes. I think if they lose those 2 games, they drop down to a D. But for now, we're going to keep them here at a C. The Falcons, put them at a B. The reason why I put them at the B, not only did they lose yesterday and they're starting to regress a little bit, but they have been leaders of the division. But they were leaders of the division. They're overwhelming so far. They're playing a lot better than advertised, a lot better than we all expected. So they deserve a spot there. It could have been A if they won yesterday. It could have been A if they had beat the Buccaneers, but it's not really their fault. But we're going to keep them there because, it might be time to start Desmond Ridder after Marcus Mariota's 2 lackluster games. The Ravens, I'm going to put them at B. The reason why I put them at B, they are 5-3. They are losing the division. But the reason why I'm putting them at B is because those first 3 games, especially against the Dolphins, you can't really forgive. They did blow 35-14 lead to the Dolphins. They've blown the first 3 games. They were up, and they blew it in the fourth quarter. So that defense needs some help, and I think they get that help. I think they got it with Roquan Smith, but that defense still needs some help, and basically that's what it is. And their offense is really lackluster without their top weapons, which they need weapons too. So I don't know if they make it far in the playoffs, but they're so far leading the division, so we got to put them somewhere. The Bills, it's an A. Josh Allen did have a bad game against the Jets the other day, but it happens. Even the best teams have bad games. It's a normal thing. My thing is, though, they did lose to the Dolphins because of offensive miscues. They did lose to the Jets because of offensive miscues. So those miscues need to be fixed a little bit. Josh Allen does play a little bit sloppy when there's divisional games. He does play a little bit sloppy, but then again, no quarterback's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So there is sense of struggles. The defense has been top tier. The whole team's been amazing. That's why I leave them there at A. The Panthers, I'm going to put them at C. And the reason why I put the Panthers at C is because... did I put them at C or did I put them at B? I'm going to put them at C. And I'm going to leave them there because, they did trade Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, even though Robbie Anderson wasn't really a factor. But, Steve Wilkes did make the right move in starting P.J. Walker, and I still think P.J. Walker has a chance to start next year, considering the fact that they might go somewhere else with their pick, especially since they're 3-7 now. They're winning games. They beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Falcons. They're basically undefeated in the division. It's insane. They could end up winning the division. No, not really. That's a stretch. My bad. But they could go undefeated in the division, like they have so far, if I'm not mistaken. And, the Panthers have the defense. They have the offense. The quarterback play has not been bad. So, I think they just need to get molded a little bit, maybe add some pieces to the offensive line, to the defense, etc. But it could work. I think P.J. Walker could be the starter next year. It's a possibility. Bears are putting at B. Justin Fields, if y'all saw episode 1, I did say that Justin Fields was popping off. He was going to pop off. They were going to fix the offense, mold it around him, give him the pieces. And what did they do? They went out and got Chase Claypool. They traded their arguably two best players, and got a good return of picks. And now they can use that to catapult their rebuild and to help Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback. You just need to play him to his strengths. And what are they doing? They're playing him to his strengths. So I give Eberflus the credit for that. He is a defensive-minded coach. That's why the defense has been pretty good. Top 10 in the league, in my opinion. Maybe top 15. They've worked out with the pieces that they had. Darnell Mooney's getting more touches. The running back duo is amazing, even though that might not be there for long. But the Bears have been surprising so far, and Justin Fields has really picked it up. The Bengals I'm going to put at C. And the reason why I put them at C is because they're 4-5, and Joe Burrow did get whooped by the last team that they played. He got whooped. He did destroy the Panthers with the game before, the Monday Night Football game against the Browns. He got whooped. And that Browns defense, yeah, it's good, but they've been disappointing this year. It's the next team. They've been pretty disappointing this year. So you would think that you would kind of beat them and not get absolutely whooped. And that just showed that they missed Jamar Chase. But overall, they've been mediocre. They haven't had the Super Bowl hangover like another team that we mention later. You guys already know who it is. But they do have their inconsistencies. They do have their struggles. And I really hope that they fix it. I think they will fix it. I think they make the playoffs still. But it's tough to be out Baltimore in that division. The Browns, I'm going to put the Browns at D. Yeah, they did beat the Bengals, but Jacoby Brissett is not really the guy. They do need Deshaun Watson back. I feel like if they get Deshaun Watson, they're winning. They win the mass, the majority of those 7 games, because he does come back week 11 against the Texans. They do win the majority. Maybe go 5-2 in those games. I think Deshaun Watson has it still. Maybe 4-3. I think he still has it though. He just needs to obviously get back on the field, work it out, practice. And I think he'll come back to it, especially since you gave him an easy test the first game. And they have to start using their running attack. They don't use their running attack. Nick Chubb is arguably the second best running back in the league behind Derrick Henry. But if you start using that running attack, things get so much better. And that's really how it is. And that's how it's going to be. That's how it always is going to be. Teams shy away from the run when the run is really what's carrying them at times. The Cowboys, we're going to put an A. Nobody expected them to have a top 2 defense, and nobody expected them to be this good. Especially nobody expected Cooper Rush to carry the load and be undefeated as a starter. They stay A. It's just super simple. They lead the division. They are the best team in the NFC East. They are possibly the best team in the NFC. Maybe. Third best team in the NFC. I apologize. I forgot about the Eagles and the Vikings, sadly. Third best team in the NFC. The best team in the NFC East. They're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make much noise, but they're going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Broncos, we're going to drop them here to an F. Anything under division contention is an F, especially for the Broncos. The Broncos have a really good team. They traded Bradley Chubb, yes, but they have a really good team. Still, they have Russell Wilson, who you gave him the absolute bag. You have the weapons surrounding him. You have everything you needed. We said it last year. Everybody's been saying it since last year, since the year before. They're a quarterback away. They got the quarterback. Now, what have they done with that quarterback? 3-5. I also think, partially to blame, Nathaniel Hackett. He's not a play caller. He's not coaching material. He didn't call plays for Aaron Rodgers. Mike McCarthy did that. Aaron Rodgers did that. He was like the last option. That being said, Nathaniel Hackett's job, if they don't get a winning record in the year, is done. He's gonna get pulled with the David Culley. Done. Absolutely done. I don't think he should be the coach of the team. I never thought he should be a coach of the team. There are way more qualified people to coach teams. We'll see who it is. The offensive coordinator for the Cowboys would be perfect for this. But let's see what they do. Let's see if they even win some more games. The Lions, I'm going to go to D. They did beat the Packers. Very disappointing. However, they were the number one offense for like 3 weeks straight. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, this offense is gonna make some noise. They're gonna win some games." The coaching is disappointed. The player execution is disappointed. The whole team's disappointed. That being said, they stay there at a D. The defense has sucked. They played good against Aaron Rodgers somehow. What was it? 3 interceptions. Ridiculous. But other than that, I'm not gonna let that one performance and the one win they had before, affect anything else. So they're gonna stay there. D stands for dramatically terrible defense. The Packers, they go to a D also. It disappoints me to say, but we have played like absolute dog shit this year. They haven't been able to make anything out of the offense. The defensive pass game is really good, but the defensive run game sucks. We just lost Rashawn Gary for the rest of the year. Devondre Campbell has been mediocre. He has been stretches of his all-pro self. Quay Walker's been disappointing. Jair Alexander's been really good, but who else? You feel me? Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos. We got a bunch of free agents too. Elton Jenkins has been injured. David Bakhtiari hasn't been playing the way he used to. The all-pro self. The offense has just been abysmal, and they haven't been able to win games. I don't think it's the coaching. I think it's more the GM not getting Aaron Rodgers any weapons. If they don't get OBJ, the season is over. You need to get Aaron Rodgers weapons. That's literally the only thing that we're missing. And yeah, a little bit of pieces on defense. But the pieces on defense you have to hit on. Quay Walker doesn't look like a hit. Devontae Wyatt, God knows who. God knows. So, that being said, the Packers have been really disappointing. I'm considering putting them to an F because they did lose to the Lions. Putting them at an F. 5 games in a row is ridiculous. Putting them at an F. Terrible year. The season's over. If they don't get OBJ, the season's even more over. Texans, put a D. Texans I'm going to put at D because... you know what? Texans are going to F. Texans are going to F because the defense was top 10 earlier in the year. And then the run defense, everybody's just running over them. Shit, I can run over them. And they haven't been able to stop a fly. Everything going through. Everything. Derrick Henry did drop 200 yards on them. The offense, Dameon Pierce has been the only light spot in the offense, in the whole team, to be honest with you. Derek Stingley has been having a good year. Jalen Petrie. But Dameon Pierce is the only one that's really made noise for that team. The highlight of that team, the fear of that team. They did almost beat the Eagles. They did get really close to beating the Eagles. But that's not going to cut it for me because the Eagles, if they stuck with the run game the entire game, it would have been a lot easier. And they did pick it up in the second half. They did abuse them in the second half. So they stayed at F. The Colts stayed in F. Their season's done. Their season's done. Jeff Saturday as a coach, I don't agree with it. He is a TV analyst talking shit. I don't really agree with it. That's like putting me as a head coach. I don't really agree with it. It would be a job of a lifetime, don't get me wrong, but I don't agree with it. He doesn't have any coaching experience, had a losing record in high school. Sam Ehlinger needs a better... The offensive line has been really disappointing, and he needs a better offensive line. The weapons are just not there. The defense has been disappointing, too. The whole team has been disappointing just as much as the Packers, you can argue. Matt Ryan's done for the year, could possibly retire. Matt Ryan's been disappointing. At the end of the day, Matt Ryan might be the one calling plays. So we'll see. They don't even know who's calling plays. They figured it out, but we don't know. So Matt Ryan may be the one calling plays at the end of the day. The Jaguars, we'll put them at a D. Trevor Lawrence, the week 1, they got me. They got me week 1. Week 1, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna be a really good team. They're gonna be amazing. Shit, let's see what happens. And then the rest of the weeks, they didn't win a game since week 3 until the Raiders. That team's been really disappointing. The defense has been good. The offense has been good. It's just Trevor Lawrence has been disappointing. Trevor Lawrence hasn't shown... Sophomore slump, you can argue. Maybe. Trevor Lawrence hasn't shown that he's that generational talent that everybody thought he was. He's showing flashes, but he hasn't shown the complete package. So that's what's worrying me. That's what leaving him at a D, too. They didn't win a game since week 3. Last week was week 9. 6 games in a row. You know the deal. You know how that works. Dropping him at a D. Kansas City obviously goes to an A. Self-explanatory. You got Patrick Mahomes making the weapons around him better because he was there in OTAs, unlike Aaron Rodgers. the Packers are the Chiefs are making their weapons around them better. Eric Bieniemy continues to show why he's a really good offensive coordinator. Might get a head coaching job unless LaShawn McCoy is right. Andy Reid continues to be one of the best head coaches. Patrick Mahomes making the things work. The defense has been playing so good. Steve Spagnuolo finally figured out that defense. They've been playing so good. They're a top 10 defense in the league, and that's something that's hard to stop. Only the Bills have been able to stop the Colts somehow, and the Titans almost stopped it because the Titans, coming up later, have been a very improved team too. Chargers, put them at a C. They've been mediocre. Then again, you can't. I leave them at a C because it's like we're gonna call it the mid, also because you can't really blame Justin Herbert for the terrible play calling from Brandon Staley. The balls that he has that ends up being risky plays and not worth it, and the fact that his receivers are injured. Keenan Allen can't stay healthy. I don't know why. Mike Williams did get injured with an ankle injury, but before that, they would have been a B. If Mike Williams was still there, they would have been a B. But since he's not, he's out for the next 4 games, and Keenan Allen cannot stay on the damn field. I'm going to leave him at a C. They're mediocre at best. And they're not winning that division, not even getting close. I don't think anybody in that division is getting close. The fact that the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers are right there for each other's heads of the division is ridiculous. I think the Chiefs walk. The Chiefs are going to run away with it, and then nobody else in the division is going to make the playoffs. Cause it's ridiculous. The Rams, more than an F. The Rams have been highly disappointing. Super Bowl hangovers coming in hot. They blew a lead against they're 3-6, I think 3-5. They blew a lead against the Buccaneers. Tom Brady's been shit all year, pretty much. The offensive line's been shit all year. The Buccaneers have been shit all year. And they gave him the free pass, basically, which is terrible. Terrible. You can't let that happen. They've been lackluster. They've been straight Cooper Cup. Matthew Stafford's been a shell of himself. Been terrible. Then again, Matthew Stafford has kind of shown out throughout his entire career. 1 year yes, 1 year no. The Super Bowl hangover is hitting him deep, and I think hot take here, that season is over. I think their season's over. We'll just have to see. The Raiders, give me an F. Oh my god. Josh McDaniels' head is out. He's out the window too. If they lose the next 2 games, or if they might fire him at the end of the season because the Raiders ownership and staff do not know what the fuck they're doing in office. They suck, but they can't even hit on a first-round pick. But Josh McDaniels' job, he should not be there if you want the best of the franchise. He should not be there come the end of the year. Should not be there. He's not been a good coach. He turned down the Colts job, and it just made it worse over there in the Raiders. They might get a free win, basically, against the Colts this week. But that's it. Like the season, they've been a failure. How do you give Derek Carr, who's an MVP threat, the best receiver, arguably the top 5 receiver in the league, because he's not the best this year, top 5 receiver in the league overall. If you put everything overall together, top 5 in the league, and you do nothing with him, nothing. It's terrible play calling. It's just terrible. The coaching staff is terrible, and the defense sucks too. The defense needs to get better. But that management doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And you put me on the Raiders and I'll fix that. Jesus, they don't know what they're doing. The Dolphins, we're going to put them at an A. I would have put them at a B come before Tua time. When Teddy Bridgewater was there, when Skylar Thompson was there. But the Dolphins have been impressive as hell. They have been amazing. Tua Tagovailoa found his stride. He's the quarterback of the future, like I have said since he got drafted. Since the year before he got drafted, tank for Tua, #, nailed it. The coaching staff before, Brian Flores, that offensive coordinator, didn't want to give him the plays that he needed. They didn't want to play to his strengths. That's why you need coaches that will do such a thing. They didn't want to let him throw the ball deep, which is his thing. They didn't get him speed receivers. His best receiver was Devontae Parker, who's not a speed receiver, he's more of a physical threat, and he did good with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now you got him Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 2 super speed guys. Last year he showed flashes too with Jalen Waddle, broke his record. Now that you got the best receiver in the league this year, you got Jalen Waddle, another top 5 receiver this year. You got Mike Gesicki, who doesn't block, but when he's open, he can grab the ball and score some touchdowns. You got a better performing offensive line. The offense is carrying that because the defense has been terrible. However, they have held when they needed to. They've been a terrible defense. They give up a lot of points. But when they need to, they've held up. Against the Vikings, for example, when they need to, they've held up. That being said, the Vikings come next. The Vikings, they're the second best team in the league. As disappointed as I am to say, they have been the second best team in the league. 7-1. They did come close to losing to the Dolphins, the Commanders, etc., etc. But they're 7-1. The record speaks out. Zadarius Smith has been a monster. I wish he stayed on the Packers, but Gutekunst being stupid. The Danielle Hunter has been quiet. I did think there was I did have like a hot take, like a really scorching hot take, that Danielle Hunter was going to get traded simply because he didn't fit the system. They're going to keep him there because regardless, he's an edge threat. So that gives Zadarius Smith more sacks, more numbers, more pressures, all the above. That defense has been questionable. The linebackers, the secondary has been questionable. However, the offense is, same with the Dolphins, the offense has just carried the load. They've just carried the load. Kirk Cousins does have a couple games where he like shuts down. Primetime will show you. Primetime games will show you that, but we'll see. We'll have to see. They're 7-1 right now, second best team in the league, behind obviously later on the Eagles and Patriots. I'd give them a C. They're the worst team in the division, but they're not the worst team. Like, they're not a bad team. They're just the worst team in the division. They're just number 4 in the division, the worst in the division, but they're not a bad team simply because the Dolphins and the Jets are 6-3. The Bills are 6-2. It's just there. It's just like the Patriots are not a bad team. They have a good defense. Judon leads the league in sacks with 11.5. He top 5 in the pressures, I think, too. Judon's been amazing. That defense has been amazing. Kyle Duggar's had a really good year. Jack Jones, amazing defense. The offense has been a little lackluster, but now they're starting to pick it up because you got Bill Belichick on on the sidelines. I put them at C because they're 4th in the division. I would put them higher, but they have had their struggles, and we have to see more like a progression. Like, this is the same as the Chargers, like a mid. The Saints, put them at a D. I give them the benefit of the doubt. They did win a couple games, but their season's over. Unless they start I think they start Jameis Winston come next week. I think Jameis Winston's going to be the starter again, simply because Andy Dalton was good for a couple games, and that's it. That he cannot be a starter. He cannot be a starter. Your offensive weapons are out too. Michael Thomas out for the year. Jarvis Landry hasn't been there in God knows how long. It just goes to show, that team needs help. The defense has been good. The defense has been really good, but they have injuries all over the place. Andy Dalton can't start. They made the Cardinals look good, and if they don't, I think Jameis Winston needs to be the starter again. But that season's over. They have no weapons. Their season's over, except Kamara. That season's over in my opinion. I think the Panthers could surpass them in the division. To be honest with you, if they win another game. If the Panthers beat them again, I think they could surpass the division, but we'll see. Giants have been an 8 team. Nobody thought they would be. They're 6-2 now. They just came out. They're coming off the bye this week to play. Nobody would have thought that. Daniel Jones looks like the quarterback of the future. I don't think he is, though. I don't think they should re-sign him. I think they should get a better quarterback. However, Saquon Barkley's been looking really good. That defense has been amazing. Brian Dable has been playing the offense to their strengths. Amazing. Just get Daniel Jones some help, maybe. Bolster that offensive line. Maybe Daniel Jones can be the quarterback. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl. I think he could get you to the playoffs. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl. But we'll see how they do after the bye week. And they're not going to get him to the Super Bowl, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying we'll see how they do after the bye week. Means we'll see if they can continue this streak of winning come after the bye week. The Jets have been an 8 team too. The New York teams, who would have thought they were balling, absolutely balling. I would put them at B if Zach Wilson if Zach Wilson threw a pick against the Bills, I would have put him at B, but he didn't. He had 154 yards and a touchdown. That's a good stat line for a quarterback like him, a bridge quarterback, you can argue, who's basically a handoff guy, and they let the defense play. Defense has been amazing. Robert Saleh is a defensive coach. You saw him with the 49ers in the Super Bowl in 2019 against the Chiefs. Amazing defense. DeMeco Ryans now is an amazing defensive coach. He can also be a coach of a team. God knows who. And yeah, that being said, the Jets offense needs a little bit of work. Zach Wilson needs a little bit of work, but the defense has been carrying the load, and they're 6-3. They beat the Dolphins, then again with a backup quarterback. But if it wasn't because of that, they probably would be in B, maybe even C. But the defense has done the job. The defense beat the Bills. Sauce Gardner looking crazy good. DJ Reed looking crazy good. Best cornerback duo in the league, probably. The Eagles. Oh my God, we have so many A teams. The Eagles are the best team in the league. They're 8-0. You can argue that they beat easy teams. You can argue whatever the hell you want to argue. They're 8-0. In the NFL, that is super hard regardless. They almost lost to some teams too, so you can't really argue that. They win the games in the last 2 minutes. They're able to win the games. That's what matters. They're 8-0. They could go 17-0. Maybe. I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll see. It's just self-explanatory. A.J. Brown's looked amazing. Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate. The defense has been spotless. It's just crazy good. The Steelers, we're going an F here. We have a lot of AF teams. Wow. The Steelers have been disappointing. They need to understand. Tomlin, like I said in another episode, top 3 coach in all time. You know, Don Shula, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin. But they need to understand that they need to go for that. They're in rebuild mode. There's no way around it. The team isn't good. Like, Kenny Pickett is just throwing picks. Kenny Pickett is just throwing picks. I think he goes wicked next week. Like, this week, I think he goes off. But then I think he wins against the Saints, which is why I have the Saints at D. But that defense has been lackluster, too. They're getting exposed. They did just get William Jackson, which I don't get it. You should probably have been harvesting picks. They didn't. That team's been lackluster, really. The offense has been poor. Najee Harris has been disappointing. Sophomore slump. But they've been disappointing regardless. They just stay at an F. That's really how it is. Seahawks, I'm going to put at B. The Seahawks, I'm going to put at... I should put at A. I should. I'm going to put them at A. I'm going to put them at A. They're leading the division. They're 6-3, while the rest of the division barely has a winning record. We all thought that it's just self-explanatory. We all thought they were going to be the worst team in the league, and now they're one of the best. They're 6-3. Nobody would have thought with Geno Smith, who can be the starting quarterback next season. It's ridiculous. I don't think they need a quarterback, to be honest with you. They could stay with Geno. Geno's been playing really well into that system. As long as Pete Carroll stays there, he could stay there. They've been playing really well. And the offensive line, the rookie tackles have been amazing. The offensive line has been amazing. The defense sucks. But I did the same. I was going to put them at B, but I did the same with the Vikings and the Dolphins. They stay there. They've been an amazing team all year. All year. They play the Bucs this week, so we'll see. The Niners I'm going to put at B. Finally, we got a B team. The Niners, the defense, DeMeco Ryans, you're a legend. You're an amazing defensive coach. The offense, they did put the pieces together. Now they gotta execute. I think they will. But that team on paper, because we haven't seen them in a while, that team on paper is amazing. They performed pretty well. They mollywopped the Rams every single time. You know, the Rams can't get a win on them. You know, they can win the division. They can. I don't see it happening, but they can win the division. I think they make a deep run in the playoffs too. We'll all have to wait and see. But then again, that defense, top 10. Offense, top 10. It's really a matter of, you know, what game Jimmy Garoppolo does good, what game he doesn't. It's really what it is. The Buccaneers, I'm going to put them at a D. Put them at C. Put them at C. The defense has been disappointing, but they're picking it up. They did regress every week, but they're picking it up. Tom Brady did have that clutch play against the Rams, which just pushed the Rams from a D to an F and put the Buccaneers from a D to a C. The Bucs have been pretty bad this year. The fact that they're barely winning the division right now is ridiculous. At a losing record, it's awful. Do I think they pick it up? Not really. I don't think they beat the Seahawks. Well, I do think they beat the Seahawks, but I think they just stay mediocre along those lines. I don't think they flip a switch or anything until after a bye week, maybe. I think that's the only way they'll be able to flip a switch. But, you know, maybe Tom Brady's more focused because of the divorce. Who knows? I just have them as a mediocre team. They're more of like a project. Let's see what they do after the bye week. Let's see what they do in Munich. All of the above. Titans, put them at B. Nobody thought, they lost Harold Landry in the beginning of the year before any games in the preseason to a torn ACL, torn Achilles, season-ending injury, and the defense has been just as good without him, just as good. The secondary has been playing to their strength, amazing. The defensive line, Danico Autry has 7 sacks. They've been playing amazing also. Jeffrey Simmons a monster in the run game, and the offense has been the problem though. Derrick Henry, if Derrick Henry doesn't carry them, it's just bad. It's the defense that's put them on top. That's put them at 5-3. The defense. That being said, if it was the offense that did pretty good, I'd put them at B. But the fact that the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Seahawks, their defense holds when they need to. The Titans, the defense holds, but the offense doesn't do what they need to do when they need to. Like last week against the Chiefs, if they used Derrick Henry, they could have won that game in the overtime. If they used Derrick Henry, they could have won that game. But they relied on Malik Willis to pass, and he's just not there yet. He needs more time. That's what it is. I think Malik Willis should have made those passes, but he just needs more time. Pocket awareness. It's a rookie mistake. It's all right. And the last team here, the Commanders. Put them at C. Terry McLaurin and Taylor Heineke connection, amazing. I think, him along with PJ Walker and Geno Smith are in the conversation for starting quarterbacks next year. I don't know why they didn't start Heineke this year. I don't know why they went for Carson Wentz. Heineke's clearly the answer. I think they benched Carson Wentz, which would suck, but he is on the last year. Taylor Heineke's been the guy. He's found Terry McLaurin a lot more. I should probably start him on my fantasy team since that's the case. Curtis Samuel's been amazing too. The defense has been getting better progressively. They're about to get Chase Young back, so we'll see how that works. Montez Sweat, Chase Young edge duo. I love it. And yeah, that Commanders team, they almost beat the Vikings. So who knows what they do? They could be in the line of mediocrity where they just get some help on the defense or get some help on the offensive line and call it a day. Like the mediocre picks, the mid picks are the hard ones. But that being said, and yeah, that's gonna do it for us here. Like and subscribe down below. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a beat. Comment down below your takes on this video. If you guys have any disagreements or agreements on this video, any videos you guys want to see in the future, comment those down below. We have a new World Cup episode coming out later today, if I'm not mistaken, probably in the weekend. We have more content coming, a lot of World Cup content, NBA content. Santi's producing, I'm producing the NFL. Cap's gonna take care of the FIFA, and yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for all the continued support, and peace.